Liora, a daughter of werewolf blood, sits hunched over a tattered notebook, her quill scratching tales of a silver-furred wolf who roams under starlight, fearless and free. Born to shifter parents, she bears a curse. No wolf stirs in her soul, no voice spills from her lips. The Moonshadow Realm, bound by the Pack Covenant, bows to the moon goddess, whose howls and chants are sacred, a symphony of power that unites the pack. But Liora, mute and wolfless, is branded moon-cursed, a defect in a world that reveres the spoken word. Her mate, once sworn to her under a blood moon, spurned her when no pups came, no howls joined the pack's chorus. His rejection cut deeper than claws, leaving her to return, shamed, to her father's cabin. The villagers' whispers, tide blight, broken, slither through the walls, each word a lash against her heart. Her father's eyes, once warm, now glint with resentment, seeing only a burden where a daughter should stand. Yet Liora writes, her tales a rebellion against a world that demands a voice she cannot give. In her stories, a mute girl commands the winds, her silence a strength, not a flaw. The candle flickers, casting shadows that dance like wolves, and Liora's fingers tremble, ink smudging as she pours her soul onto the page. Outside, the village hums with life. Howls rise to the moon, rituals she cannot join. Her mother, long gone, once whispered that stories could weave magic, but in Dusk Hollow, such magic is scorned as human folly. Liora's notebook, worn and dog-eared, is her sanctuary, its pages filled with dreams of belonging. She pauses, gazing at the moon through a cracked window, its light a silent promise. Little does she know, this moonlit night heralds a tide of fate, a storm that will sweep her from the hollow's shadows to the heart of Wolfsbane Keep, where her silent strength will be tested. Her quill hovers, as if sensing the change, and the pines outside whisper secrets only the moon understands.
In the dim glow of the cabin, Liora lingers in a shadowed corner, her notebook clutched like a shield. Her father's voice, rough as gravel, clashes with Marin's softer tones, their arguments slicing through the thin walls. The hunts have failed, nets empty, and winter looms like a hungry wolf. No meat, no coin, her father growls, his fists clenched, blaming Liora's presence for their misfortune. Marin, her younger sister, a shifter with a howl that echoes through Dusk Hollow, pleads softly, her orca form a pride to the pack. Liora's stories could barter for grain, she ventures, but her father scoffs, his eyes darting to Liora with disdain. Stories won't feed us, he snaps, nor mend her brokenness. Liora's heart twists, each word a reminder of her rejection, by her mate, who cast her out for her silence, and now by her father, who sees only a defect. The Moonshadow Realm values strength and voice, and Liora, unable to chant the moon goddess's rites, is less than human in their eyes. Marin's gaze flickers to her, guilt mingling with fear, but she says nothing more. Liora's fingers tighten on her notebook, its pages her only voice. She remembers her mother's tales, whispered before illness claimed her, of a world where silence held power. But in this cabin, under her father's glare, such dreams feel like ash. The fire crackles, spitting embers, and Liora's thoughts drift to her latest tale, a mute wolf who leads her pack through wisdom, not howls. She longs to share it, to prove her worth, but her father's voice cuts through again, cursing the tithes demanded by Alpha King Voren. His name, spoken like a curse, chills the air. Tales of his cruelty, of rebels vanishing into the dark gorge, haunt every hearth. Liora's silence, once a private wound, now feels like a public failing, a mark that drags her family deeper into ruin. She steps back, her shadow merging with the wall, as Marin's voice trembles, pleading for another way. The cabin feels smaller, the air thick with unspoken blame, and Liora's quill lies still, her stories powerless against the hunger in her father's eyes. Outside, the moon watches, its light cold and unyielding, as if waiting for the moment that will shatter Leora's fragile world.
A heavy knock shakes the cabin's door, and the air grows taut, like a bowstring drawn tight. Liora freezes, her notebook pressed to her chest, as her father opens the door to reveal the Beta Enforcer, a towering werewolf with amber eyes that gleam like polished stone. His presence fills the room, a predator's aura that makes the fire flicker. Tripled tithes, by order of Alpha King Vorin, he growls, his voice a low rumble that vibrates in Leora's bones. Vorin's name, whispered in fear across Dusk Hollow, conjures tales of his iron rule. Rebels torn apart, traitors cast into the dark gorge's depths. The Moonshadow Realm quakes under his command, and this Beta, his enforcer, is his claw. He eyes Marin, her orca form and powerful howl a prize for the pack, fit for Wolfsbane Keep service. Her father steps in front of her, his hands trembling, his voice cracking as he pleads, "The hunt's failed, my lord. We need time." The Beta's lip curls, revealing sharp canines, and Liora feels the weight of his gaze, like a wolf sizing up prey. Her muteness, her wolflessness, make her invisible, yet not safe. The cabin's walls seem to close in, the fire's warmth no match for the chill of the Beta's presence. Marin whimpers, her shifter strength useless against the Pack Covenant's demands. Leora's father's eyes dart, desperation carving lines into his face as he calculates the cost of defiance. The moon goddess's shrines, dotting the village, demand loyalty through voice and strength, and Liora, lacking both, is a stain on their honor. Her notebook feels heavy, its tales of brave wolves mocking her powerlessness. The Beta's boots scrape the floor, his patience thinning, and Leora's heart pounds, sensing the moment her world will shift. Outside, the pines sway under the moon's gaze, their whispers drowned by the Beta's growl demanding payment or servitude. Leora's silence, once her private shame, now looms as a danger to her family, a currency they cannot afford to keep. The fire pops, casting shadows that dance like wolves, and the Beta's eyes narrow, his verdict hovering like a blade over the cabin's fragile peace.
The cabin holds its breath as Leora's father points to her, his voice hoarse with desperation. "Take the moon cursed," he pleads. "Her tales are all she's worth." Leora's heart fractures, a silent scream trapped in her throat. Her notebook, clutched like a lifeline, trembles in her hands. Marin, wide-eyed, blurts, "Her stories are beautiful, my lord, tales of wolves and moonlight." The Beta Enforcer sneers, his amber eyes raking over Leora's slight frame. "A mute for Wolfsbane Keep," he scoffs, but curiosity flickers in his gaze, as if her oddity intrigues him. Leora's father presses. She's no use here, but her scribbles might amuse. Each word is a claw, tearing at Leora's fragile hope. The Moonshadow Realm, ruled by howls and strength, sees her silence as a curse, her stories as human folly. Yet Marin's desperate plea, born of guilt, offers her tales as a bargain to save herself. Leora's mind reels, memories of her mother's voice, soft before the sickness took her, whispering that stories could weave magic. But here, in this firelit cabin, they are a currency to trade her life. The Beta's boots shift, his claws tapping the floor, and Liora feels the weight of her family's betrayal. She steps forward, nodding silently, her eyes burning with unshed tears. Her father avoids her gaze, Marin's hands twisting in shame, but Leora's resolve hardens. Her notebook, worn and inked with dreams, is her only anchor. The Beta grunts, accepting the deal, his wolfish grin promising no mercy. "To the keep, then," he growls, and Liora feels the moon's cold gaze through the window as if it knows her fate. Her stories, once a refuge, now mark her as a servant to a king whose name chills the night. The cabin's fire dims, shadows stretching like wolves ready to pounce, and Liora steps into the doorway, her silence louder than any howl. The betrayal cuts deep, but her tales whisper of a strength she has yet to claim, a spark that will carry her into the unknown.
The moon hangs full and unforgiving as Liora follows the beta enforcer through Dusk Hollow's moonlit forests, his massive wolf form a shadow that swallows the path. Her notebook, tucked into her cloak, presses against her heart, its weight both burden and solace. The pines loom, their needles whispering secrets of Wolfsbane Keep, where Alpha King Voran's rule casts a long shadow. Liora's breath catches, her fear mingling with a strange curiosity. Tales of Voran's cruelty, of rebels lost to the dark gorge, clash with the moon's silent promise of change. The beta's fur glints silver, his amber eyes glancing back, ensuring she follows. Her silence, a curse in Dusk Hollow, feels heavier under the keep's looming towers, their stone spires piercing the sky like fangs. Howls echo from within, a chorus she cannot join, a reminder of her place as less than human. Her fingers trace the notebook's edges, its tales of brave wolves her only defiance against the realm's scorn. The path winds through frost-kissed glades, the moon's light painting the ground in silver and shadow. Liora's mind drifts to her latest story, a mute wolf leading her pack through wisdom, not voice. Could such a tale find a place in Voran's court? The keep grows closer, its gates carved with wolves in mid-howl, and Liora's heart races, torn between dread and a flicker of hope. The beta's growl rumbles, urging her forward, and she steps toward the keep, its walls alive with the scent of pine and primal power. The moon watches, its gaze a silent witness to her journey, as Liora clutches her stories, stepping into a destiny that will test the strength of her silent heart. Liora, mute and wolfless, steps into a damp, cavernous chamber, her notebook clutched like a talisman against the dark. The beta enforcer's amber eyes flicker as he hands her to a gray-haired werewolf servant, her orca-black gaze sharp as a blade. "Strip!" she barks, her voice echoing off the stone, and Liora's heart lurches. 6 other girls, human and trembling, huddle nearby, their eyes wide with fear. The Moonshadow Realm, ruled by the Pack Covenant, strips humans of dignity, and here, in Voran's fortress, Liora's silence marks her as less than prey. Rough hands tear her cloak, her worn dress, leaving her shivering as coarse brushes scour her skin with lye and ice-cold water. The gray-haired woman sneers. "The king won't abide filthy dock rats," her claws grazing Liora's arm, a warning of the moon's wrath for defiance. Liora folds her tattered clothes with deliberate care, her fingers tracing the notebook's edges, its tails her only anchor. The other girls whimper, their breaths misting in the chill, but Liora's silence is a shield, her eyes fixed on a distant torch. The keep's walls pulse with howls, a chorus of werewolf power she cannot join, each note a reminder of her curse. Her mind drifts to a story of a mute wolf, shunned yet steadfast, leading her pack through shadow. Could such courage live in her? The servants shove gray tunics at the girls, rough wool scratching Liora's raw skin, and she pulls it on, her muteness drawing stares. The gray-haired woman's lip curls, as if Liora's silence offends the moon goddess herself. The chamber's damp air clings, heavy with pine and musk, and Liora's heart pounds, sensing the weight of her new prison. Yet her notebook, tucked beneath the tunic, whispers of rebellion. A mute girl's tales against a world that demands a howl. The moon's light, filtered through a high slit, casts shadows that dance like wolves, and Liora stands straighter, her resolve hardening in the face of this dehumanizing storm.
In a torch-lit hall, the gray-haired servant paces before Liora and the girls, her boots clicking on stone, slick with frost. Her voice, sharp as a wolf's bite, drills the rules of Wolfsbane Keep. "Speak only when spoken to,
Avoid the west wing, obey, or face the moon's wrath. Liora's muteness, a curse in Dusk Hollow, now feels like a death sentence in this vocal realm where howls weave the moon goddess's rites. The other girls nod, their eyes darting, but Liora's silence draws a sneer, the servant muttering, "A mute among wolves? Useless." The words sting, echoing her father's betrayal. Yet Liora's fingers brush her notebook, its tales a quiet defiance. The hall's walls, carved with wolves in mid-howl, loom over her, and distant chants from the keep's heart pierce the air, a reminder of her exclusion. She imagines her latest story, a silent wolf navigating a forest by wit alone, and clings to its strength. The servant details their duties, scrubbing floors, serving feasts, and, for one, tending the king's honored guest. The phrase hangs heavy, laced with dread, and the girls pale, whispering of vanishings in the keep's shadows. Liora's heart races, her mind conjuring tales of monstrous guests, but her silence keeps her thoughts hidden. The gray-haired woman's eyes linger on her, as if her muteness is a puzzle or a threat. "You'll learn your place," she growls, her claws flexing. Liora's notebook presses against her chest, its weight a reminder of her mother's words. Stories can weave magic. But in this stone prison, where werewolves rule and humans cower, magic feels distant. The torches flicker, casting wolf shadows that seem to watch, and Liora's resolve wavers, yet her stories whisper of a courage she must find. The servant turns, barking for them to move, and Liora steps forward, her silence louder than the keep's howls, a mute girl facing an unknown fate.
The girls are herded into a torch-lit antechamber, its stone walls etched with lunar sigils that glow faintly under the moon's gaze. Liora stands among them, her gray tunic rough against her skin, her notebook hidden beneath it like a secret heart. The air grows heavy, charged with the predator's presence, and a voice announces, "His Majesty, Alpha King Vorin." Liora's breath catches as he enters, his broad shoulders filling the doorway, his face carved like moonlit stone, flawless yet weary. His eyes, deep as the dark gorge, sweep over the girls, who tremble like prey. The Moonshadow Realm quakes under Vorin's rule. Tales of his cruelty, rebels torn apart, traitors banished, whispered in every village. Yet his voice, when it comes, is low, tinged with exhaustion. They're all trembling, tiresome. Liora's heart pounds, her muteness a barrier in this vocal world, but her curiosity stirs, drawn to the flicker of something human in his gaze. The gray-haired servant bows, gesturing to the girls. "For your guests' needs, my lord." Liora's mind races, conjuring tales of monstrous guests, her notebook a frail shield against fear. Vorin's presence is a storm, his black cloak trailing like a wolf's shadow, and the girls shrink, their breaths misting in the chill. Liora, though, feels a spark of defiance, her mother's words echoing. Stories can defy fate. The torches cast Vorin's shadow, a towering wolf across the stone, and Liora's eyes lift, drawn to his face despite herself. His gaze, sharp and unyielding, seems to see through her silence, and she wonders what burden weighs on a king so feared. The antechamber's air crackles, the sigils pulsing as if alive, and Liora stands still, her silence a quiet rebellion in a room of fear. Vorin's hand rises, slow and deliberate, and the girls hold their breath, waiting for his choice to seal their fate.
In the antechamber's flickering light, Liora's heart thunders as Vorin's gaze sweeps the line of girls, each one quivering under his scrutiny. Her muteness, a curse in the Moonshadow Realm, feels like a brand, yet her fingers brush the notebook beneath her tunic, its tales her only strength. The gray-haired servant stands rigid, her orca-black eyes darting between Vorin and the girls, her voice deferential. "They are ready, my lord." Vorin's lip curls, his exhaustion palpable, as he mutters, "Always the same fear." Liora, against instinct, lifts her eyes, meeting his for a fleeting moment. His gaze, deep and stormy, locks onto hers, and something shifts, a spark of curiosity perhaps, in the king's otherwise cold demeanor. Her breath catches, defiance warring with fear. As she holds his stare, her silence louder than the keep's howls. The other girls gasp, their eyes downcast, but Leora's moment of courage sets her apart. Voron's hand points, deliberate and final. "She'll do," he says, his voice a low growl that reverberates through the stone. The servant blinks, startled, whispering, "The mute?" But Voron's gaze doesn't waver. Leora's heart leaps, fear and curiosity entwining. What does a king see in a moon-cursed girl? The antechamber's torches flare, casting wolf shadows that seem to nod, and Liora feels the weight of her fate shift. Her notebook presses against her chest, its tales her only strength, as she is singled out for the mysterious guest. The girls whisper, their fear palpable, but Liora steps forward, her silence a shield against the unknown. Voron turns, his cloak sweeping like a wolf's tail, and Leora's mind races, her tales of brave wolves urging her to face this moment. The moon's light, filtering through a high window, bathes her in silver, as if blessing her defiance in a world that scorns her.
Liora follows a trembling guard through Wolfsbane Keep's winding halls, her gray tunic chafing her raw skin, her notebook a hidden weight against her heart. The stone corridors, carved with wolves in mid-howl, pulse with the keep's primal energy, howls echoing from distant feasts. The guard, sweating despite the chill, glances back, his eyes wide with dread. "The guest's chamber?" he mutters, leading her to a massive oak door etched with snarling wolves. Torches flicker as if fleeing, casting shadows that dance like predators. The gray-haired servant appears, her voice sharp but trembling. "Please the guest mute, or face worse than the moon's wrath." Leora's heart races, her mind conjuring tales of monstrous guests, beasts or worse, lurking in Voron's keep. Her muteness, a curse in Dusk Hollow, now feels like a death sentence, yet her notebook whispers of courage. She recalls a story of a silent wolf facing a dark forest, its wit her guide. The guard's hand shakes as he unlocks the door, its creak a low growl, and Liora feels the moon's gaze through a high slit, cold and unyielding. Her silence, once a private shame, now looms as her only weapon in this unknown trial. The servant's claws flex, her fear betraying the keep's secrets, and Liora steps toward the door, her tales her only light. The air grows heavy, scented with pine and primal magic, and Leora's resolve hardens, her heart whispering that stories can defy even a king's command. The door swings open, a yawning maw, and Liora steps forward, her silence a challenge to the darkness awaiting her.
The oak door of the guest's chamber creaks open, a yawning maw into darkness, and Liora steps inside, her heart a drumbeat beneath her gray tunic. Wolfsbane Keep's stone walls, alive with the scent of pine, musk, and primal magic, press against her, the air thick with secrets. Her notebook, hidden against her chest, is her only shield as torchlight reveals a cavernous room. A banquet table groans with roasted meats. A fur-draped bed looms like a predator's den, and shadows writhe like wolves under moonlight. The Moonshadow Realm, ruled by howls and the moon goddess's voice, brands Liora moon-cursed for her muteness and wolflessness, and she expects harm from this mysterious guest. Then, from the darkness, he emerges, a beast, grotesque and towering, his werewolf form twisted beyond nature, with jagged fur, claws like sides, and golden eyes that pierce the gloom. Leora's breath catches, her mind conjuring tales of monsters devouring the weak, but his voice, a strained growl, surprises her. "Read me your stories." No demand for flesh, only words. Her hands tremble, clutching her notebook, and she hesitates, fear warring with curiosity. His proposal follows, abrupt and earnest. "Stay, be mine." Heart pounding, Liora scribes a riddle on a scrap of parchment. "I am held by those who cannot touch me, broken by those who never speak me, kept by those who never sought me. Kings command me, but I command fate. What am I?"
She offers it, gesturing that more tales await if he cannot solve it. The beast's eyes gleam, intrigued, and he nods, accepting the challenge. Liora's silence, a curse in the realm, becomes her weapon, her tales a bridge to this monstrous stranger. The torches flicker, casting his shadow, a wolf warped by magic, and Liora feels the moon's gaze through a high window, as if it watches her defiance. Her mother's words echo, "Stories can weave magic." In this chamber, where fear and wonder collide, Liora's tales begin to spin a thread of connection, her silence louder than any howl.
By day, Wolfsbane Keep is a stone cage, its corridors echoing with the howls of werewolf nobles and the clatter of Liora's scrub brush. Clad in her rough gray tunic, she kneels on cold floors, scouring flagstones until her hands bleed, the lye soap stinging like a lash. The other servants, human and cowed, sneer at her muteness, calling her mute freak as they chant the moon goddess's rites, their voices a chorus she cannot join. The gray-haired werewolf servant, her orca-black eyes sharp, hovers like a predator, barking, "Faster, moon-cursed, or you'll scrub till dawn." Liora's silence draws their scorn, her inability to howl a mark of shame in a realm where voice is power. Her notebook, tucked beneath her tunic, presses against her heart, its tales of brave wolves her only refuge. She recalls a story of a silent wolf navigating a dark forest by wit alone, and it steels her against the taunts. The keep's walls, carved with wolves in mid-howl, loom over her, their eyes seeming to judge her every move. At midday, a feast hall fills with werewolf lords, their laughter and chants drowning out the clink of Liora's bucket. A noble spills wine, smirking as he orders her to clean it, his claws grazing her arm as a warning. Liora's hands tremble, but she works in silence, her mind drifting to the beast's chamber, where her tales found a listener. The contrast gnaws at her, days of humiliation, nights of strange solace. The moon's light, filtering through a high slit, casts shadows that dance like her stories, and Liora clings to them, her silence a rebellion against the keep's cruelty. Her mother's words whisper, "Stories can defy fate." As the gray-haired werewolf servant snaps at her again, her resolve hardens, her notebook a promise of strength in a world that seeks to break her.
As moonlight spills into the guest's chamber, Liora stands before the beast, her notebook open, her heart racing under his golden gaze. The room, scented with pine and primal magic, hums with an intimacy that contrasts the keep's cold stone. The beast, grotesque with jagged fur and claws like daggers, sits at the banquet table, his massive form dwarfing the chair, yet his eyes are soft, expectant. Liora gestures to a tale of a misunderstood wolf, shunned by its pack, and begins to read, her hands tracing the words as if speaking them. The beast leans forward, his growls softening to a murmur, asking, "Why does the wolf forgive its pack?" Liora pauses, surprised by his insight, and scribes a reply, "Because it sees their fear." He nods, captivated, his claws tapping gently as he urges her to continue. Her silence, a curse in the Moonshadow Realm, becomes a bridge, her tales weaving a connection where words fail. The torches cast his shadow, a warped wolf across the stone, and Liora feels a flicker of trust, her fear of his form easing. Her story unfolds, the wolf finding strength in solitude, and the beast's questions deepen, probing the heart of her characters. Liora's fingers steady, her gestures fluid, as if her silence speaks louder than any howl. The banquet table's untouched feast grows cold, but the beast hungers only for her tales, his golden eyes gleaming with something like wonder. She recalls her mother's words, "Stories can weave magic." In this chamber, under the moon's watchful gaze, Liora's tales spin a fragile thread of understanding,
her muteness no longer a barrier, but a gift. The beast's presence, once terrifying, now feels like a refuge, and Leora's heart stirs, caught between awe and the lingering shadow of his monstrous form.
The beast's chamber glows with torchlight as he leads Liora to a hidden door, his massive claws grazing the stone with care. Beyond lies a library, its shelves brimming with parchment, quills, and ancient tomes. A treasure in a realm where paper is rarer than silver. Leora's breath catches, her notebook trembling in her hands, as the beast growls softly, "Write your tales here." His golden eyes, warm against his grotesque form, hold no demand, only encouragement. In the Moonshadow Realm, where howls are sacred and stories scorned as human folly, this gift is a rebellion, a recognition of Leora's silent strength. She steps inside, the scent of ink and dust mingling with pine, and her heart swells with gratitude. The beast watches as she traces a shelf, her fingers brushing parchment as if it were sacred. She scribes a note. "Why this gift?" He replies, "Your tales make the darkness bearable." Leora's eyes burn, her muteness no longer a curse in this moment. She begins a new story of a mute girl finding belonging in a shadowed land, her quill dancing under the moon's light through a high window. The beast sits nearby, his claws still, listening as she writes, his presence a quiet anchor. The library's walls, free of wolf carvings, feel like a sanctuary, a place where her silence is power. Her mother's words echo. Stories can defy fate. The beast's gift, this haven of words, shifts something in Liora, a spark of belief that her tales have worth. The torches flicker, casting shadows that dance like her characters, and Liora writes with newfound purpose. Her stories, a bridge to the beast's hidden heart.
Moonlight bathes the guest's chamber as Liora shares her new tale, her gestures fluid, her notebook alive with the story of a mute wolf leading her pack. The beast, his grotesque form softened by the glow, leans forward, his golden eyes gleaming with delight. "What drives her?" he asks, his growl a gentle rumble, and Liora scribes, "Her heart sees what others cannot." He nods, debating a character's choice, suggesting a twist that makes her smile. In the Moonshadow Realm, where her silence is a curse, this exchange feels like magic, a dance of minds where words are unnecessary. The banquet table's feast lies untouched, the fur-draped bed a silent threat, yet the beast's focus is on her tales, his claws still as he listens. Leora's fear of his form fades, replaced by a warmth she dares not name. He proposes again, his voice earnest. "Stay, be mine." Her heart leaps, but fear of his monstrous visage holds her back. She gestures to the riddle, her silent deflection, and he accepts with a nod, his eyes never leaving her. The torches cast his shadow, a warped wolf, yet Liora sees the soul within, kind and curious. Her mother's words whisper, "Stories can weave magic." In this chamber, under the moon's gaze, Leora's tales bind them. Her silence a strength that draws her closer to the beast, though fear and affection war within her heart.
Liora is summoned to a book-lined study, its air heavy with the scent of leather and wax. Alpha King Vorin stands before a carved desk, his presence a storm, his flawless face etched with suspicion. His eyes, deep as the dark gorge, pin Liora like a wolf stalking prey, and her notebook, hidden beneath her gray tunic, feels like a guilty secret. The Moonshadow Realm, bound by the Pact Covenant, reveres the moon goddess's voice, and Leora's muteness marks her as an anomaly, a moon-cursed enigma in Vorin's court. "What do you know of my guest?" he demands, his voice a low growl that chills the air. Her heart pounds, the beast's golden eyes flashing in her mind. his gentle questions so unlike this king's cold menace. She bows, her silence her only shield, and Vorin steps closer, his black cloak trailing like a wolf's shadow. "Speak of him, and you'll face death," he warns, the irony of her muteness lost in his fury. The study's torches flicker, casting wolf shapes that seem to snarl, and Leora's fingers tremble, longing to scribe her truth. Her tales, shared nightly with the beast, feel like a betrayal under Vorin's gaze, yet they are her strength. She recalls her mother's words, "Stories can weave magic." But here, in this scholar's den turned predator's lair, magic feels frail against Vorin's power. His eyes narrow, as if he sees through her silence, and she wonders what burden weighs on a king so feared. The room's books, ancient and untouched, hint at a mind at odds with his cruelty, a puzzle Liora cannot solve. She nods, eyes downcast, and he dismisses her with a wave, his voice sharp. "Go, mute." The door closes, sealing her in the keep's oppressive halls, and Leora's heart races, torn between the beast's warmth and Vorin's threat. The moon's light, filtering through a high slit, casts a silver thread, as if urging her to hold fast to her stories, her only light in this darkening storm.
The corridors of Wolfsbane Keep echo with howls as Liora scrubs flagstones, her hands raw from lye and stone. The other servants, human shadows in gray tunics, whisper venom. Mute freak, bewitched by the guest. Their voices, sharp as claws, mock her silence during the moon goddess's chants, a ritual she cannot join. The gray-haired werewolf servant looms, her orca-black eyes glinting with disdain. "Work faster, moon-cursed," she snarls, forcing Liora to re-scrub a spotless floor. The Moonshadow Realm scorns her muteness, her wolflessness a stain on its vocal pride, and the servant's taunts echo her father's betrayal. Her notebook, tucked beneath her tunic, presses against her heart, its tales of brave wolves her only refuge. She recalls a story of a silent wolf, shunned yet steadfast, and it steadies her trembling hands. The feast hall nearby roars with werewolf nobles, their howls a chorus of power, and a servant spills ale, smirking as he orders Liora to clean it. His fingers brush her arm, a veiled threat, and she works in silence, her mind drifting to the beast's chamber, where her tales find a listener. The contrast cuts deep. Days of scorn, nights of solace. Rumors swirl, Vorin's cruelty, rebels torn apart, and whispers that Liora's survival with the guest marks her as cursed or charmed. The gray-haired woman's claws flex, her voice low. "You're watched, mute." Liora's heart sinks, sensing eyes in every shadow, yet her notebook whispers of courage. The moon's light, filtering through a cracked window, casts wolf shadows that seem to circle her, and Liora scrubs on, her silence a rebellion against their hate. Her mother's words echo, "Stories can defy fate." In this stone prison, where howls drown her existence, Liora clings to her tales, a mute girl forging strength in a world that seeks to braid her.
A faint hope stirs as the gray-haired servant, her face grim, leads Liora to a small chamber off the keep's winding halls. The door creaks open, revealing a wooden desk, a stack of parchment, and a quill glinting under torchlight. "A gift from the beast," the servant mutters, her orca-black eyes betraying unease. Liora's breath catches, her notebook trembling in her hands as she steps into this unexpected sanctuary. In the Moonshadow Realm, where paper is rarer than silver and stories scorned as human folly, this space is a miracle, a defiance of the realm's vocal pride. The chamber's stone walls, bare of wolf carvings, feel like a haven, and a single window lets in moonlight, silvering the desk. Leora's fingers trace the parchment, her heart swelling with a warmth she dares not name. The beast's words echo, "Your tales make the darkness bearable." Her muteness, a curse in Wolfsbane Keep, feels lighter here, her silence a canvas for stories. She sits, scribing a tale of a mute girl finding belonging in a shadowed land, her quill dancing as if alive. The torches flicker, casting shadows that sway like her characters, and Liora feels a shift, a belief that her tales have worth. Her mother's words whisper, "Stories can weave magic." The beast's gift, this quiet space, transforms her from a moon-cursed outcast to a creator, her silence no longer a chain, but a key. The keep's howls fade, distant and irrelevant, as Liora writes, her heart tethered to the beast's kindness. The chamber's air, scented with ink and stone, hums with possibility, and Leora's tales spin a thread of hope, a mute girl's rebellion against a world that scorns her. The moon watches, its light a silent blessing, urging her to claim this newfound strength.
In the beast's chamber, moonlight spills across the banquet table, untouched meats gleaming as Liora opens her notebook. The beast, his grotesque form softened by the glow, leans forward, his golden eyes bright with anticipation. Liora gestures to a tale of a mute outcast, her hands tracing the words as if speaking them, her story mirroring her own rejection. The Moonshadow Realm, where howls bind a pack, deems her silence a curse, but here, with the beast, it is a gift. "Why does she forgive?" he asks, his growl gentle, and Liora scribes, "Her heart sees their fear." His nod is slow, thoughtful, and he suggests a twist, a friend who sees her truth. Liora smiles, her fear of his jagged fur and claws easing, replaced by a warmth that stirs her soul. The torches cast his shadow, a warped wolf, yet his questions reveal a mind as sharp as her quill. He proposes again, his voice earnest, "Stay, be mine." Her heart leaps, but his monstrous form holds her back, a flicker of fear amidst her affection. She gestures to the riddle, her silent deflection, and he accepts, his eyes never leaving her. Her mother's words echo, "Stories can weave magic." In this chamber, under the moon's gaze, Leora's tales weave a bond, her silence a bridge to his hidden heart. The fur-draped bed looms, a silent threat, but the beast's focus is on her words, his claws still as he listens. Leora's gestures grow bolder, her stories a dance of minds, and she wonders if this warmth is love. The keep's howls fade, and Liora feels alive, her muteness no longer a cage, but a strength, binding her to a creature who sees her soul.
In a torch-lit corridor, Liora hurries with a bucket, her hands raw from scrubbing, when Varin appears, his black cloak sweeping like a wolf's tail. His flawless face twists in disdain, his voice cold. "Still alive? My guest has peculiar tastes." The Moonshadow Realm's king, feared for his cruelty, towers over her, and Leora's notebook presses against her chest, a fragile shield. Her muteness, a curse in his court, feels like a mark under his gaze, yet a flicker of curiosity in his eyes unsettles her. She bows, her silence heavy, and his lip curls, as if her survival with the guest offends him. The corridor's wolf carvings seem to snarl, their stone eyes echoing Varin's judgment, and Leora's heart races, torn between the beast's warmth and this king's threat. Rumors of Varin's deeds, rebels torn apart, traitors banished, swirl in her mind, yet his glance lingers, probing her silence. Her tales, shared with the beast, feel like a secret she must guard, and she wonders if Varin suspects their bond. The torches flicker, casting his shadow, a lone wolf across the stone, and Liora feels the weight of his power. Her mother's words whisper, "Stories can defy fate." But in this moment, under Varen's cold stare, her stories feel frail, her silence a liability. He turns, dismissing her with a wave, and Liora hurries away, her heart torn between fear and the beast's gentle gaze, her tales a thread of hope in the keep's darkening halls.
In the beast's chamber, where moonlight spills like liquid silver across the fur-draped bed, Liora stands, her notebook trembling in her hands. The air hums with pine, musk, and primal magic, a sanctuary within Wolfsbane Keep's stone heart. The beast, his grotesque form softened by torchlight, watches her with golden eyes that pierce her soul. His jagged fur and claws no longer a terror, but a puzzle. The Moonshadow Realm, bound by the Pact Covenant, scorns Liora's muteness, branding her moon-cursed. But here, her silence weaves a bond stronger than any howl. She opens her notebook, her quill's ink still fresh, and gestures to a tale of her own pain, her mate's rejection for her silence, her father's betrayal for her wolflessness. The words spill onto the page, raw and jagged. They saw no worth in me. The beast's growl is soft, fierce as he leans closer, his massive form filling the room. Your stories make you more than any pack, he declares, his voice a rumble that shakes her heart. Liora's eyes burn, her fingers trembling as she scribes, "You see me." The torches flicker, casting his shadow, a warped wolf across the stone, and Liora feels a warmth she dares to name love. Her mother's words echo, "Stories can weave magic." In this chamber, under the moon's watchful gaze, her tales have spun a thread of trust, binding her to this creature who values her soul. The banquet table's feast lies cold, untouched, as the beast's eyes hold hers, fierce with conviction. She recalls her first night here, expecting harm, yet finding a listener. Now his presence is her refuge. Her silence, once a cage, feels like a gift, her stories a bridge across their differences. The beast's claws flex as if yearning to reach for her, and Liora's heart races, torn between fear of his form and the pull of his kindness. The keep's distant howls fade, irrelevant in this sacred space, and Liora senses a turning point, her tales urging her toward a choice that could shatter or save her.
Moonlight bathes the guest's chamber as Liora sits at her gifted desk, the parchment before her glowing like a moonlit path. Her notebook lies open, its pages filled with tales of mute heroes, their silence a strength. The beast's words echo, "Your stories make you more than any pack," and Leora's heart stirs, a tide of warmth washing away her fear. In the Moonshadow Realm, where howls bind the pack, and her muteness is a curse, the beast sees her soul, his golden eyes a beacon in her darkened world. She recalls their nights, his thoughtful questions, his gentle growls, and realizes she loves him, not his form, but the mind that meets hers in her tales. Her quill hovers, then scribes a single word, "Yes." Her decision to accept his marriage proposal feels like a leap into a story unwritten, bold and terrifying. The torches cast shadows that dance like wolves, and Leora's mind drifts to her mother's words. Stories can defy fate. In this chamber, her silence is no barrier, her tales a vow of trust. She imagines a life beside the beast, her stories shared under moonlight, her muteness no longer a shame, but a strength. The keep's oppressive stone, its howls and scorn, fade in this moment, her heart alight with courage. She rises, her gray tunic rough against her skin, and prepares to enter the chamber at dawn, to tell the beast her choice. The moon's light, filtering through a high window, seems to nod, blessing her resolve. Her notebook, her constant companion, feels lighter, its tales a testament to her growth. The beast's grotesque form, once a terror, now holds a promise of belonging, and Leora's steps are steady, her silence a song of love. The air hums with magic, and she senses the weight of her choice, a turning point that could rewrite her fate in a realm that scorns her.
At dawn, the guest's chamber is hushed, the first light creeping through a high slit, casting the beast in a soft glow. Liora steps inside, her notebook clutched, the word yes burning in her mind. The beast stands, his grotesque form, jagged fur, claws like scythes, silhouetted against the dawn, his golden eyes warm with hope. Then a shudder racks him, his growl becoming a cry as bones crack and fur recedes. Liora freezes, her heart thundering as the beast transforms into Vorin, his flawless face breathtaking yet hollow with pain. The Moonshadow Realm's king, feared for his cruelty, stands revealed as her gentle listener, cursed to be a beast by night, a king by day. A witch's punishment, he rasps, for my arrogance long ago. Only a love stronger than for a king can break it. Leora's mind reels, her tales of misunderstood wolves echoing this truth. Her silence, once a curse, feels like a key, her love for the beast unshaken by his royal form. She steps forward, gesturing to her notebook, ready to scribe her love, but Vorin's eyes darken, misreading her intent. He sees her awe at his human face, not her heart's truth, and his voice hardens. You love the king, not the beast. The torches dim, their shadows coiling like wolves, and Leora's heart fractures, her silence unable to bridge this gap. Her mother's words, stories can weave magic, feel hollow as Vorin turns away, his cloak a wolf's shadow. The chamber, once a sanctuary, feels like a cage, and Leora's love, so newly claimed, hangs fragile in the dawn's light. The moon fades, its gaze cold, as Vorin's curse binds him to his pride, leaving Liora to face the heartbreak of his doubt.
The guest's chamber, now stark in the dawn's light, holds Liora like a prisoner, as Vorin, human and regal, delivers his verdict. His flawless face, once the beast's gentle gaze, is cold, his voice a blade. You love the king, not the monster. Leave. Leora's heart shatters, her notebook trembling as she tries to scribe her truth. I love you, beast and man. But Vorin turns, his cloak sweeping like a wolf's tail, refusing her silent plea. The Moonshadow Realm, where her muteness is a curse, offers no mercy, and Vorin's misunderstanding cuts deeper than any rejection. Guards enter, their eyes averted, and Leora's tears fall, smudging the ink of her tales. Her mother's words, stories can weave magic, mock her as she's led through Wolfsbane Keep's halls. The wolf carvings snarling in judgment. The gray-haired servant watches, her orca-black eyes glinting with grim satisfaction as Leora's footsteps echo, each one a farewell to the beast's warmth. Her notebook, her only voice, feels heavy, its tales now a record of loss. She recalls their nights, the beast's questions, his gift of a library, and her heart aches for the soul she loves, hidden beneath Vorin's crown. The keep's howls rise, a chorus she cannot join, and Leora's silence feels like a wound, her love dismissed as ambition. The guards push her toward the gates, the moon fading in the morning sky, and Liora clutches her notebook, its pages her only strength. The air grows cold, the pines beyond the keep whispering of dusk-hollow scorn, and Liora steps into exile, her heart tethered to a beast who cannot see her truth. Her tales, once a bridge, now feel like a requiem, yet she holds them close, a mute girl's defiance against a world that breaks her.
In Dusk Hollow, the misty pines close around Liora like a shroud, her return a bitter echo of her past rejection. Her notebook, worn and heavy, holds tales of cursed kings, scribed in the long nights since her banishment from Wolfsbane Keep. The Moonshadow Realm's scorn lingers, villagers whispering, moon-cursed, as she passes their cabins, her muteness a mark of shame. Her father's door remains shut, Marin's guilty eyes avoiding her, and Liora lives alone, her quill her only companion. Each night, under the moon's cold gaze, she writes of a beast whose heart matched hers, but the words feel hollow, her love a wound unhealed. The pines whisper of Voron's mating ceremony to the princess of the Eastern Pack, a union to strengthen the realm, and Leora's heart twists, longing to see him one last time. Her tales, once shared with the beast, now fill pages with grief, a mute girl's lament for a love misunderstood. She recalls her mother's words, "Stories can defy fate." Yet in this hollow, where howls bind the pack, her silence feels like defeat. Rumors reach her, Voron's cold rule, his feasts echoing with noble laughter, and Liora resolves to attend the ceremony in Night Vale, her notebook her only shield. The moon watches, its light a faint promise as she prepares to face the king who cast her out. Her tales, though heavy with loss, urge her forward, a spark of courage in her silent heart. She steps into the night, her stories a quiet rebellion, ready to confront the beast she loves in a world that scorns her.
Under a moon swollen with silver light, Liora steps into Night Vale's clearing, where the air hums with the fervor of Voron's mating ceremony. The Moonshadow Realm, bound by the Pack Covenant, gathers in this pine-ringed glade, wolf pelts and lunar sigils draping the scene like a royal tapestry. Liora, clad in a simple cloak, blends into the crowd, her notebook pressed against her heart, its tales of cursed kings a silent lament. A year has passed since her banishment from Wolfsbane Keep, her love for the beast, Voron in his monstrous form, unhealed, a wound that bleeds with every scribed word. The clearing pulses with werewolf nobles, their howls rising to the moon goddess, whose voice is sacred, while Leora's muteness marks her as a moon-cursed, an outcast even here. She hides behind a family, their chatter masking her presence, her eyes fixed on Voron atop a stone dais. His flawless face, once the beast's gentle gaze, is tense, his black cloak trailing like a wolf's shadow. The princess of the Eastern Pack, radiant with a howl that shakes the pines, stands beside him, her beauty a stark contrast to Leora's silent plainness. Leora's heart twists, her love for Voron warring with the pain of his rejection, his belief that she loved the king, not the beast. Her notebook, filled with tales of their nights together, feels heavy, a testament to a bond she cannot release. The moon's gaze, cold and unyielding, seems to watch her, as if it knows the storm brewing in the crowd. Her mother's words echo, "Stories can defy fate." Leora's tales, though born of grief, urge her to stay, to see the beast one last time. The clearing's torches flare, casting wolf shadows that dance like her stories, and Liora stands still, her silence a quiet rebellion in a world that scorns her, her heart tethered to a love that refuses to fade.
The Night Vale clearing thrums with anticipation, the crowd's murmurs blending with the distant howls of Wolfsbane Keep. Liora, hidden in the shadows of a pine, clutches her notebook, her eyes scanning the sea of werewolf nobles and human servants. The moon hangs high, its silver light glinting off the lunar sigils draped across the dais, where Voron and the princess stand, their union a promise of pack strength. Yet Leora's heart, tethered to the beast's golden eyes, aches with unspoken love. Her muteness, a curse in the Moonshadow Realm, isolates her, but her writer's gaze catches a flicker of danger,
Rogue werewolves, their cloaks tattered, weave through the crowd, their movements deliberate as wolves stalking prey. Their hands hover near hidden blades, their eyes glinting with malice, unnoticed by the revelers chanting the moon goddess's rites. Liora's breath catches, her mind racing to a tale of a silent wolf sensing a trap in a shadowed forest. The rogue's intent is clear, to disrupt Voron's ceremony, to shatter his rule, and Liora's heart pounds, torn between fear and a need to protect the man she loves. The princess's howl rises, a melody of power, and Voron's gaze sweeps the crowd, missing the threat. Liora's notebook presses against her chest, its tales urging courage, her mother's words whispering, "Stories can defy fate." The torches cast jagged shadows, wolves circling in the flickering light, and Liora steps closer, her silence a shield as she watches the rogues edge toward the dais. The moon's gaze, sharp as a claw, seems to urge her forward, and Liora's resolve hardens, her love for Voron, beast and king, a spark in the gathering storm.
The Night Vale clearing erupts in chaos as rogue werewolves leap from the crowd, their blades flashing under the moonlight. Swords clash with guards' steel, and snarls tear through the air as wolves shift, fur bursting through tattered cloaks. Liora, hidden near a piney, grips her notebook, her heart thundering as the ceremony shatters. The Moonshadow Realm's sacred union, meant to bind Voron and the princess, becomes a battlefield, the lunar sigils swaying like battle flags. Voron stands on the dais, his black cloak a wolf's shadow, barking orders as guards clash with rogues. The princess, her radiant face pale, is whisked away, her howl cut short. Liora's eyes lock on Voron, his flawless form commanding yet vulnerable, and she spots a rogue archer, his bow drawn, an arrow aimed at Voron's back. Her mind flashes to a tale of a silent wolf saving her pack, and her feet move before fear can hold her. She rushes forward, her gray cloak billowing, and shoves Voron aside, the arrow whistling past, grazing her arm. Blood seeps through her sleeve, but Liora stands firm, her silence a roar in the chaos. The crowd screams, nobles scattering, and Voron's eyes meet hers, shock flickering in their stormy depths. The rogues press forward, their snarls a challenge to his rule, and Liora's heart races, her love for the beast driving her to act. Her mother's words echo, "Stories can defy fate." The torches flare, casting wolf shadows that writhe like her tails, and Liora's courage, born of silence, shifts the tide. The moon watches, its light a cold witness to her defiance, as Voron draws his sword, his gaze lingering on her, a question unspoken in the midst of battle.
As the moon climbs higher, bathing the Night Vale clearing in silver, the battle rages, rogue werewolves clashing with Voron's guards. Liora stands near the dais, her arm bleeding, her notebook clutched like a shield. Voron, sword in hand, fights with lethal grace, but the moon's light triggers a shudder, his body convulsing as the crowd gasps. His cloak tears, fur erupting, claws extending, and the beast emerges, grotesque, jagged, a werewolf warped beyond nature. The Moonshadow Realm's king, revealed as a cursed monster, stands exposed before nobles and servants, his golden eyes blazing. The princess, safe in a guard's hold, freezes in horror, her howl silenced while the crowd recoils, their whispers of curse cutting through the chaos. Liora's heart leaps, her love for the beast unshaken, his transformation a truth she already holds. The rogues howl in triumph, sensing weakness, but Voron, as the beast, lunges, his claws tearing through attackers with feral strength. He shields Liora, his massive form a barrier against a rogue's blade, his growl a vow of protection. Her notebook falls, pages scattering, and she meets his golden eyes, seeing the soul she loves, beast, not king.
Her mother's words resound, stories can defy fate. The torches dim, wolf shadows swirling, and Liora stands firm, her silence a testament to her love. The crowd's fear clashes with the rogue's snarls, but Voron's focus is on her, his beastly form a shield against the storm. The moon's gaze, sharp and unyielding, seems to bless this moment, as Liora's courage and Voron's ferocity hold the clearing, their bond a light in the chaos of his revealed curse.
The Night Vale clearing lies strewn with fallen rogues, the battle's tide turning as Voron, in his beastly form, stands over Liora, his golden eyes fierce with love. The moon hangs full, its light a silver blade, and the crowd watches, breathless as Voron's claws drip with blood, his massive form shielding Liora from a final rogue's strike. His choice, to protect her over hiding his curse, shatters the witch's spell that bound him, a punishment for youthful arrogance. The air hums with magic, and Voron's body shudders, his fur receding, claws retracting, as he transforms gently back to human under the moonlight. His wounds heal, his flawless face radiant yet vulnerable, and the crowd gasps, nobles murmuring of miracles. Liora, her arm bleeding, steps forward, her notebook forgotten on the ground, and gestures her truth. I love you, beast and king. The Moonshadow Realm, once scornful of her silence, falls silent, her love a force stronger than any howl. Voron's eyes, no longer stormy, meet hers, raw with realization, and he kneels, taking her hand. You saw me, he whispers, his voice free of pride. Her mother's words echo, stories can defy fate. The torches flare, casting human shadows, and Liora's silence speaks louder than the moon goddess's chants. The crowd, once horrified, bows, their fear turning to awe, as Voron rises, Liora at his side, their love a beacon that breaks the curse and binds their hearts.
In the heart of Wolfsbane Keep, where moonlight once cast shadows of snarling wolves, a new dawn breaks, its golden light spilling through open gates. Liora, no longer moon-cursed, stands beside Voron, their hands joined in a simple wedding beneath a canopy of pines. The Moonshadow Realm, once bound by the Pact Covenant's rigid hierarchy, breathes freely, its air scented with hope and blooming heather. Voron, his flawless face softened by love, wears no crown, his black cloak replaced by a simple tunic, a symbol of humility. Liora, in a gown woven with lunar sigils, her notebook tucked close, is no longer a mute outcast, but a queen whose silence speaks louder than any howl. The crowd, werewolves and humans mingling without fear, watches in awe, their chants to the moon goddess now woven with written verses, a nod to Liora's tales. The keep's stone walls, once a cage, echo with laughter, not howls, as servants move freely, their gray tunics shed for colors bright as dawn. Voron's voice, once a growl of command, declares the covenant dissolved, equality forged in love's fire. Liora's heart swells, her muteness no longer a curse, but a beacon, her stories a bridge between species. Her mother's words echo, stories can defy fate. The pines sway, their whispers soft, and the moon, though hidden by day, seems to bless this union. Liora's notebook, worn but cherished, holds tales that reshaped a realm, its pages a testament to her strength. The crowd raises goblets, their cheers a harmony of voices and silence, and Liora feels a warmth, her love for Voron a light that banishes the shadows of her past. The keep's gates, flung wide, welcome all, and Liora stands tall, her silence a crown, her tales the law of a new Moonshadow Realm.
In Wolfsbane Keep's great hall, where wolf carvings once glowered, Liora sits among children, werewolf and human, her notebook open on a wooden table. The Moonshadow Realm, reborn under Voron's reformed rule, reveres her tales, once scorned as human folly. Her latest story, of a mute wolf leading her pack through wisdom, spills from her pages, her gestures fluid as she reads to the wide-eyed young. Their fur and skin blur in the torchlight, their gasps a chorus where her silence shines. The hall, scented with cedar and ink, hums with wonder, the children no longer mocking her muteness, but marveling at its power. Leora's notebook, once hidden in Dusk Hollow, is now a treasure, its pages copied for pack schools, taught beside the moon goddess's chants. Her heart, once heavy with rejection, lifts as a werewolf child scribes a question. "Can I write like you?" Liora nods, her smile a quiet vow, her mother's words echoing. Stories can weave magic. The keep's walls, now draped with tapestries of wolves and scribes, reflect a realm transformed, where silence is as sacred as howls. Adults linger, nobles and servants alike, drawn by her tales of redemption, their eyes soft with respect. Leora's muteness, once a curse, is now a symbol of strength. Her stories a unifier in a land once divided. The torches flare, casting shadows that dance like her characters, and Liora feels a belonging she never dared dream. Her silence a melody in a hall once ruled by scorn. The moon's light, filtering through stained glass, bathes her in silver, and her tales, once a refuge, now shape a realm's heart, her voice found in the stories that echo beyond the keep.
In Wolfsbane Keep's grand ballroom, where moonlight streams through arched windows, a feast celebrates Liora and Voron's reign. The air sparkles with laughter, werewolves and humans dancing as equals, their steps a harmony under lunar sigils now woven with quills. Liora, in a gown of midnight blue, stands beside Voron, her notebook a quiet companion. A diplomat, his fur dusted with silver, raises a goblet, his voice sly. "A riddle, my queen, from your first night with the beast. I am held by those who cannot touch me, broken by those who never speak me, kept by those who never sought me. Kings command me, but I command fate. What am I?" The crowd hushes, eyes on Liora, her muteness no longer a flaw but a crown. Voron, his hand warm in hers, smiles, his voice clear. "A promise." Gasps ripple, and he adds, "I knew it then, but respected her choice." Leora's heart leaps, her love for him a tide, recalling their first night, her riddle a shield against fear. Her mother's words echo, stories can defy fate. The ballroom's torches flare, casting human shadows, and Liora gestures, her smile confirming his answer, their bond a dance of trust. The crowd cheers, their voices blending with her silence, and Voron draws her into a waltz, his steps sure, his eyes free of the curse's weight. The riddle, a promise of autonomy, binds their love, her tales a thread through their shared history. The moon watches, its light a blessing, as Leora's silence speaks, her stories a law that reshapes the Moonshadow Realm. The dance swirls, a harmony of equals, and Liora feels her heart soar, her muteness a melody in a realm reborn.
In Wolfsbane Keep's council chamber, where moonlight once cast wolf shadows of fear, Liora and Voron face nobles and elders, their hands joined. The Moonshadow Realm, now a land of unity, listens as Voron reveals his curse's truth, a witch's punishment for his youthful arrogance, splitting him into king by day, beast by night. His voice, once a growl of command, is soft, raw with humility as he speaks of Leora's love breaking the spell. Her notebook rests on the table, its tales a testament to their bond, her muteness a strength that silenced the curse. The elders, once rigid under the pack covenant, nod, their eyes soft with respect, while nobles whisper of miracles. Liora gestures, her hands weaving a story of a beast redeemed, and the chamber hums with awe, her silence louder than any howl. Her mother's words echo, stories can weave magic. The moon goddess's shrines, once vocal altars, now honor written tales, reflecting a realm transformed. Voron's openness, his willingness to bear his shame, inspires trust. His reforms, equality, open gates, rooted in their love. The chamber's torches flare, casting human shadows, and Liora feels a pride she never knew. Her tale's a bridge between past and future. The nobles pledge loyalty, their voices blending with her silence, and the moon's light, streaming through a window, bathes them in silver. Leora's muteness, once a curse, is now a beacon, her tale's a law that binds the realm. The air hums with hope, and Liora stands tall, her love for Voron a flame that lights a new Moonshadow Realm.
Under a full moon, Liora and Voron stand on Wolfsbane Keep's balcony, the pines below whispering of a realm reborn. Liora's notebook, now a revered relic, rests beside her, its tales taught across the Moonshadow Realm. Her gown shimmers with lunar threads, her muteness a crown, as Voron's hand rests in hers, his face radiant with love. The air hums with pine and magic, and Liora, moved by the night, tries to hum. A faint trembling note escapes her lips, a miracle born of their unconditional love. The Moonshadow Realm, once scornful of her silence, holds its breath, the sound a soft echo of the moon goddess's chants. Voron's eyes widen, his smile a dawn, as he whispers, "You sing." Her mother's words resound, stories can defy fate. The hum, fragile yet powerful, symbolizes her voice reclaimed, not in howls, but in love's quiet song. The realm below thrives. Humans and werewolves share markets, schools teach her tales, and the keep's gates welcome all. Twins, implied in Liora's gentle curve, promise a future of harmony. The moon watches, its light a blessing, as Liora's hum fades, her silence still her strength. Her notebook, filled with tales of mute heroes, rests open, its pages a testament to a realm transformed by love. Voron draws her close, his warmth a vow, and Liora feels whole, her stories and silence a melody that reshapes the Moonshadow Realm forever.